World Cup will be the biggest sports event South Africa has hosted, but it's also causing some big headaches. The country is getting ready to spend an extra 2 billion rand on stadiums. Opposition MP Donald Lee is now raising questions. He's also raising a couple of eyebrows. Lee wants to know if governments and municipalities have been caught offsides. He's written a letter asking Sports Minister Makenkesi Stofile to make it clear how much more money the taxpayer will have to pay for the stadiums. Lee claims that Stofile has admitted South Africa will eventually fall over 3 billion rand short. Lee says the Sports Ministry provided him with these figures when he raised questions about the budget. CNBC Africa spoke to the minister about these numbers, but he says a new official figure has not been released.
In the LOC board meeting of the 25th of November, when this matter was raised of the overruns, which was around that same figure again, we said we want a breakdown of the areas that have caused the overrun.
It's up to the host cities to present a cost breakdown of exactly what factors have contributed to the anticipated budgetary overruns. The LOC will then decide what portion of these overruns will be the responsibility that must rest on the shoulders of the host cities. Municipalities are finding it tough to manage costs at the moment. The budget for the new Greenpoint Stadium in Cape Town is 2.5 billion rand, but officials say they're feeling the squeeze.
We have an overheated construction industry in the run-up to 2010, and it's a question of supply and demand. We've seen a significant increase in material costs, all of which have affected the stadium. But not only this stadium, construction of stadiums all over the country in host cities. So we are 550 million adrift.
Greenpoint Stadium isn't alone. Soccer City in Johannesburg is set to run 700 million rand over budget.
Part of the escalation that we've experienced is in relation to the increase of steel, which has gone up internationally by 70% of the cost of steel, the increase in cement, the increase in fuel, and these factors have affected the price of Soccer City. Soccer City, you have aspects like forex. You are importing, for example, the roof of Soccer City is an imported roof, the cladding is an imported cladding. Thus, there is also the international forex issue that is at play. When the global market give us a hiding, we have to suffer the pain.
But Stofile says host cities should have planned better. He says they chose extravagant designs, expensive contractors, and imported materials, and so should foot part of the bill.
Some of these host cities have not been very prudent in their procurement processes. They were taken for a ride by some of these companies, whether it was in the designs and plans, or whether it was in the actual construction themselves. I know, judging from how much the Orlando Stadium was refurbished for and the size of that Orlando Stadium, and comparing it with a stadium of a similar size, I know that there has been an inefficient procurement that has taken place in some of those host cities.
But municipalities say they simply couldn't do anything about some of the costs. The city of Joburg claims contractors took advantage of their position during the tender stage.
When we went on tender, the tenderers themselves came above the allocation by National Treasury. And the reason for that is twofold. You remember that the stadiums, all the 9 stadiums went on tender at the same time. Thus the market responded in a specific way. We then experienced a higher price than anticipated, and thus the city took a decision to increase or add on the initial allocation that was made by National Treasury.
The cities ended up paying big checks. They say they decided the big picture was more important.
Would South Africa have been proud to have actually hosted a World Cup in the stadiums we had? We are from the Beijing Olympics. Is this how South Africa wants to be seen as a country with the stadiums that we had before? We actually went to a design of these stadiums. Maybe we could have designed less, But we went to these designs fully appreciating that we want to give an impression of who we are. We want to host the world in a true sense of what we are as South Africans.
South Africa now has to come up with another game plan. Stofile says the government will help host cities by guaranteeing loans from the Development Bank. But it's not all gloom and doom. Greenpoint Stadium, for one, isn't short of options.
The naming rights of the stadium is up for sale. This hasn't got any other name than Greenpoint Stadium, so the naming rights are up for sale. We today approved in principle at our council meeting an operator lease to a consortium of Sale and Stade de France. The city will be getting an income from that operator lease. We will also be getting ticket income from FIFA ticket sales, and we will be looking at cost reductions from our service suppliers, and in addition to which we will continue our dialogue with national and provincial government.
But Greenpoint and Joburg still have to present their case to the local organising committee. That committee will decide how much extra money the cities will have to pay. So while teams get ready to stretch their muscles for 2010, host cities are getting ready to stretch something else, their budget.